Today's Sherpa review has some particularly relevant information if you're brand new to the domain industry and trying to understand exact match domains. What's all the hype? We give some exact figures and parameters to work with to know when an exact match domain is a good investment for you. We also discuss names at NameJet, an investor portfolio, strategy in general. It's a good show. Enjoy. Hey, Sherpa Network. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Tess Diaz, executive producer of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the Domain Sherpa Review. This is a show where we get into the minds of successful domain name investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become better investors ourselves. We have 3 segments to the review. We'll start off learning what the Sherpas recently bought and sold. Next, we'll discuss in value an investor-submitted domain name portfolio. And finally, we'll preview some domains going to auction soon at NameJet.com and whether the Sherpas think they're a good investment opportunity for you. Joining us today on the Domain Sherpa Review are 3 past Sherpas and industry thought leaders. We're particularly delighted to have Amanda Waltz, now with Waltz Consulting. Hello, Amanda. Thank you for being here.
For having me.
Delightful to see you again. The domain industry needs you. You're such a great broker and such an experienced mind in this industry. You're still in Boston?
I am. Yes, it's freezing here, and hopefully the snow will melt soon and spring will arrive.
Well, we're rooting for you. I heard the groundhog saw its shadow, so
yes.
Good luck.
Wishful thinking.
That spring is coming soon, but certainly doesn't look like it outside today.
That snow in Vegas really makes things turn.
If it's the same Boston that I know, and you've got 3 more months before it even.
It is.
Oh, it is. It is. Shane Coltra, DSAD. Hello. How much snow do you have?
We don't have any snow, but it's ice, and I make a living doing salt. Of my 50 million businesses, one of them is salting places because it's pretty profitable if you have the right equipment. And we're out there 5 times more than snow. I mean, you just get these little snows and ice and rain, and then freezing at night. So I get it about a day before Amanda does, so I can tell her like 1 day ahead to brace herself.
All right. Keep in touch. Then you'll know it's going to be cold in Boston.
Yeah, you got one coming across. We got it tonight. And it might not come your way, but it's probably coming your way.
Is that the same storm that pounded the Seattle area? Yeah,
so it got Seattle, then it came across to us, and then they got it recently. But again, they don't respond as much. Like, you respond less as it goes east. Out west, it's the world is going to end. To the Midwest, it's like, hey, let's code red. We're going to prepare. And then by the time we get to East, they go, we're just going to have to leave 5 minutes early for work today. That's how it goes.
Drew, how much snow you have in Lisbon?
Not much snow here. Actually, yesterday, or today, I think it's almost 80 degrees, sunny. Walk around in a t-shirt.
Beautiful. Well, I just spent the weekend. I flew back last night from San Francisco, where it was sunny and gorgeous the entire time. So y'all got the crummy weather. I somehow scored even in San Francisco.
Are you going to move there and just, $4,700 rent a month for a 300 square foot place?
Yeah, that's my plan, Shane. Yeah.
House hunting.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, they do have amazing internet speeds. So, you win some, you lose some, right?
Right.
Let's jump in and get started. What's New Sherpas is our segment where the Sherpas share one purchase or sale they've made over the past few weeks, and we get to learn what they paid or received for the domain, why they thought it was a good deal, and how the negotiations progressed. I love this part. I love seeing everybody guess what someone else may have paid for a domain. Shane.
Or sold.
Yep. Shane, what's one domain you personally bought or sold in the past few weeks? Tell us the domain name, but not the price.
Okay, it's a commoner purchase. It's a name that I bought that's is not going to move the needle for a lot of people, but it's a type of name I've been buying. It's Packle, Packle, like pack with an LE on the end.
Packle, like tackle with a P for Packers.
That's even better way to say it. Yeah.
Oh, for Patriots. What was I thinking?
Yes.
It's just because it had pack in it.
Yeah.
But okay, Packle. And I like, Shane, you bring the average Joe right in here. Packle.com. Amanda, what do you think Shane would have paid to acquire Packle.com? Or what do you think it's worth on today's market? What someone should pay to acquire it?
An investor or an end user?
Either one. You can say both,
Okay.
one or the other. It's up to you. You can give a range.
Sure. I think he paid under 1,000, and I think that it could definitely be sold for a lot more to someone who either had a plan or a broker who could sell a concept. So in my mind, I could see that going anywhere from 12 to 25,000 with the right buyer and with the right broker. Or if you're not planning on hanging on to it, Shane, if you could sell a concept, I think that I like it actually a lot. It's a good brandable.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, and you're right. A broker with a concept is important. Drew, what do you think Shane paid for Packle.com?
I think Amanda's probably spot on. So I just try to just be more specific and guess a number. I'll say, I'm going to say like $380. No, actually, you know what? It's pretty pronounceable. I don't think you can get it that cheap unless if you bought it in an auction, which you most likely did. So I'm going to say $700, $680. So $680 is my final guess. And yeah, I agree. I mean, I probably lean a little bit lower, but I think, you put a buy it now of like $7,888 or $9,080. I think over 10, my issue with names like that is like for somebody to pay like more than that 5 or 10 grand range, they need to really be in love with it and not have a close second, because the chances are that, if they've got a close second that's an apples to apples type of domain, the chances are that one is going to be, cheaper, and, the cheaper alternative probably wins unless they really are in love with one. So I think, your chance of being seconded out of the market, meaning, they've got a close second that's just priced below yours enough for them to go with the second choice, is pretty high. The chances of that are pretty high. So I think, it's probably right in that 5 to 10 grand range is where I'd say it sells. I'd probably throw a $7,888 buy it now, throw it up on, Sato and Afternick and hold my nose.
All right. Shane, what'd you pay for Packle.com?
Well, they're right on there. I paid $850 for the name, and I mean they're 100% correct, both of them. It's the kind of name that I like to stock my portfolio with because it's a good brandable. It passes a radio test. It's relatively short, and if you can't afford the $50,000 one word or the $100,000 one word, I exactly, Drew's is right. I need 10 times my money to make it work. And I usually have a 3 or 4% sell-through rate. So that doesn't match up. So you think, well, if he gets a 4% sell-through rate and he's only getting 10 times his money, those numbers don't add up. But I feel if you get the right names, you can eventually get to more than a 4% sell-through rate. And that 4% is a year. I think most of the names I have, I'm going to sell. I have no doubt that I will sell every name in my portfolio now for more than I paid for it. But it's taken 10 years of getting rid of all the junk. And a name like Packle, the reason I put it up, a name like Packle would have been $100 5 years ago, $70, $20. And every year they're creeping up and creeping up. And I bet Packle next year will be over $1,000. I have no doubt in my mind that those are getting harder and harder. Every time someone brands themselves, another one, as Drew says, off the market. So anything under six letters and under that are pronounceable and cute and brands, they're going to rise just like the other name. So I'm trying to get it while I can still get it and keep it under $1,000. But I bought Gipple and Tackle, just those brandables that are easy, short to pronounce.
So you bought this in an auction?
That's all if I'm buying it at GoDaddy or Dropcatch, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those. Because if you get the big names, you see the auctions right now. There's 10 major players going for the one word short ones. They're getting crazy. I mean, you're starting to see, there's a 4 number right now at like 50, 60,000, and it'll probably go over 100,000. So the numbers are growing every day, and it's only going to grow. To expect it to not grow means that names are coming back. They're not coming back. Once they're gone, they're gone.
But this was an expired domain auction.
This was an expired domain auction. Pardon me? That was at GoDaddy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, good one. And you were prepared to go anywhere under $1,000, $999?
Yeah, under $1,000. I try not to get caught up in a bidding war. They're not, like Drew says, they are replaceable, but they are becoming less replaceable because I can't find another one. I used to be able to replace them at $100. Now I'm replacing them at $800.
You can't find another one, but there's, let's
similar,
say
yes,
a few other people like you who have got a portfolio who are pricing them, and then,
that's right.
You've got more staying ability than most of the people who are going to be playing in that field. And so, you're at their whim to discount, right? It's like they suddenly decide, they lost confidence and they suddenly say, oh, I'm going to price all of mine at $1,888.
Yeah.
They've, hurt your market.
Yeah. I mean,
to some degree, right? I mean, it's not that it's each one is unique and individual. And so it doesn't really operate that way, but
but it could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the best sales are definitely a company that has the name already. And then they come to you and say, that's a name of, like I had a knife company. There's no alternative. That's the name of their company. And their alternative is what's to the right of the dot, not to the left of the dot.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why, I mean, there really is like.
And they didn't have a trademark.
There's 3 completely different markets. I mean, we've said it so many times on here, but, we could sit here and have these intellectual conversations about, oh, what is the domain worth? What do we think? Why do we think that? But at the end of the day, it's like, well, which market are we talking about? Is this, the investor market, wholesale market? Is this like outbound end user market? Or is this the stars align, lightning strikes? You've got an end user who's already got this name or has already had board decisions and investor decisions that this is the name, and they're coming to you, and the only question is what price are they going to pay?
This isn't a squatting. We don't come in after they have the name and say, hey, I'm going to buy the name. I had the name before they chose their company. The only thing that we agree on is we both love the name.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a great thing to agree on, Yeah. All right, Amanda, what's a name you recently bought or sold?
Okay. So as you mentioned earlier, I'm just starting to come back. I am going on referrals only. And the only name that I've sold in the past few weeks, I actually can't tell you the name, but I can tell you a little bit about it that I think will be helpful and descriptive. It's a common surname, but it can also be used as a male or female first name. In the United States and in the UK, 6letter.com.
Very nice. Okay. No, that's wonderful. We like the mystery even more sometimes. And Drew is a huge fan of firstname.coms and probably surnames.com. Can you tell us, was it an acquisition or a sale?
It was a sale for a company who was no longer using this particular domain name.
Okay. And it's great to see more and more companies understanding that domains are assets that they can divest. So good for you. Shane, how about you guess first?
Well, yeah, that's one of the hottest markets is names. Or again, talk about really not having any left on the market. I'd say in another 5 years, you're going to have to start making up names to have names to sell. I will say it can be a last name and a first name, which is really nice, but that means it makes a great brand. I'll just say 80,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
$80,000 for a 6-letter, mostly last name or first name.
Yeah, and that's assuming it's a common one that everybody will look at and know exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Drew, what do you think?
I'm going to say a little higher. If it's a common first name and a common surname, that really opens up the pool of potential buyers in most cases. And I actually, it's interesting at this moment, and we've said it before, female first names are really quite hot because of AI companies and even companies which aren't specialized in AI. You've got financial institutions which are launching their own AI. You've got healthcare companies launching their own AI. You've got all these different elements of AI integrating into, commerce. And so for whatever reasons, as has been pretty consistent throughout time, whenever we invent some new technology, we name it after a woman. And so you've got all these female named AIs, right? I mean, look at, Alexa, and I don't even know any at the moment. But, they're mostly, probably 90% are named after females. So it is a hot market, and it's growing, and it's going to continue to grow. And I'm going to say 175 is, yeah.
So your guess is more than double Shane's guess. Interesting.
So right now, I mean, I feel like 40 to 60 to 75 is kind of the wholesale rate. Like, I'm not saying there's a lot changing hands at that price, but there's not a lot for sale. And really good ones, the common ones, like a Susan, a Lauren, these are going for they're going for much higher prices. Like, investors are looking for 6 figures to let those change hands, even to another investor. So essentially that market has just been like wiped clean because nobody's willing to sell them at prices that were previously like investor prices. And so the investor price is sort of, there is no investor market on the supply side. So,
yeah. Now,
we've sold several in that 150 at the low end and 350-ish at the high end, just female first names. And so, yeah, I think.
Amanda, I was under the impression it was a male name.
It's either. It lent itself to be quite versatile. It is a surname. I do know of some women who have this name, and it's more popular in the UK for a man to have this name.
Okay, interesting. That, I think it may, do you think, Drew, that would add even more value to it?
I think it's very subjective.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Lay it on us, Amanda. We want to know about the negotiations on this too.
So,
not the name. She could tell us the price.
Absolutely. And so we did offer it for sale in, as Drew was saying, the low 6 figures. Actually, they were a pretty motivated seller. And I negotiated it for about 30 days, and it sold a little bit less than they wanted to sell it for originally that we brought it to. No, it was definitely still in the in the low six figures. It didn't have a 1 and it didn't have a 3. So
Yeah.
we're right in that ballpark. Anybody who has these domains right now that are that versatile and could either be AI, it could be a wellness product. Those were the kind of agencies that I was looking at. There are so many companies right now with female founders, and there are so many VCs out there that are made up of entirely former founders who are women who love these type of names because they can literally say, okay, you know what, I have a wellness company that's coming out and they're female founded, they're going to love this. So those are the type of founders and VCs that I'm pitching these type of names to, because they tend, in my opinion, to have a little bit more visionary type of investor strategy where they can see this as an addition to their portfolio. And then I would think within probably 6 months, we'll see a company with this name. So it's not even a company that has been, that has a application for it yet, but coming soon.
And that's a big statement about their commitment to the vision of domain names and the personalization of a brand. Tell us how the negotiations went, what kind of feedback you got as you presented this to different, it sounds like primarily to VCs and startups.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that I've realized over the past 3 or 4 months is there is still such an education process. The most savvy marketers who understand, all the algorithms that they're talking about with me, and that quite honestly goes like this for me. I understand brands. I understand an emotional connection to a word or a name, and lots of savvy marketers do not. So you really have to paint a picture for them, and the ones that get it, and you don't really have to do that because they understand, what it is that they're looking at in its rawest of forms. But then there's some that you would think, oh my gosh, they have to have this. If a investor or a seller says to me, this is the company who's going to buy it, I just need you to bring it to them because I know that's the buyer, nod and smile and wave politely. But at the end of the day, it usually is not. At least that's what I've found.
I agree 100%. It's like almost in 100% of cases where somebody comes and says, here's the buyer. I already know they're the buyer. It's like, I already know that's not the buyer. You're totally right. I always say that it's usually the David and not the Goliath who buys these names. When you're looking and you say, this is just the perfect name for this buyer. Well, who is their smallest but fast growing competitor? Who's probably not even on the big guy's radar yet. That's the guy you want to sell this name to. That's the guy who needs the leg up to go, to fight the Goliath.
Yeah, because the big guys don't think they need it.
Yeah, and they're willing to look outside the box for where can they
well, they're looking for strategic advantages, right? Yeah. So, where really for the Goliath, in most cases, not always, sometimes there's still a very strategic advantage, but in most cases, usually the Goliath, the only sales pitch you can make is, for defensive purposes. And sometimes that's a really strong case. Sometimes, there's, that's a very strong case to make. The defensive case is sometimes the strongest case. But, with the David who's trying to come up against the Goliath, it's, he's looking for tools.
Sure. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Or she is looking for tools, as the case may be.
Yeah. Well, excellent sale. Congratulations.
Thanks.
AMANDA.
Oh,
it's not female.
Yeah. I don't know. I was counting it out in my head. Andrew, too. I was like, Andrew could be a last name and a first name.
I see. And the only reason I went lower is I was thinking it's some not popular. But, there's a huge range of the quality of the last name and first name. I mean, there's
Yeah,
there's $1 million names out there.
Absolutely. And my daughter has one of those names. Her name is Bradley, and it could be male or female. It wasn't Bradley. That would be great. Although I think Bradley actually did sell recently, and I want to say it's like an insurance company, but it's something very similar like that.
Yeah. Wild. Very exciting to hear. All right, Drew, what'd you buy or sell lately?
All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here because these guys might have seen the price because it was marketed in a newsletter when I bought it. But it truly is one of my favorite domain purchases in like a super long time. I love this domain. KeepCalm.com.
KeepCalm.com.
Yeah, but I don't think
like you like that.
No, I saw it on Twitter, but the Twitter I don't think had the price.
No, I didn't see the price on Twitter, but it was in one of these domain newsletters from.
So this is a domain you purchased, and you cheated a little bit and told everyone now that you bought it from a domain investor or broker.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the current market value in that type of?
Shane's searching. Shane's searching his email. He's looking for the newsletter. I can see it.
It's gonna be like on those chef shows. Hands up.
Yeah.
I was just looking for I remember it now. Yeah. I knew I had seen it.
I remember it now that the emails had
Well, you said it was on your newsletter, and I said
no, it wasn't on my newsletter.
No, it wasn't on your newsletter. I was like, that came through.
It's on someone else's newsletter. Okay, Amanda, what do you think? Today's market price.
Today for Drew.
Well, what do you think I paid, and what do you think it's worth?
Okay. I think he paid 12 grand for that one. And what do I think he could sell it for? My gosh, it's all those t-shirts. I mean, there's a Keep Calm for everything. I don't love two words as brands, but there is a company, that t-shirt company or that sign company that makes this. 60 is what I think it could be resold for. I can see your face going, Amanda, no. But yeah, I think 60.
I mean, even then, 5X is nothing to turn your nose at. All right, thank you. Shane, what do you think?
Well, I know what he paid for. Well, I don't know what he paid for it. I know what they were offering it for. But I'll be honest with you. When I saw it, I remember the website that did the Keep Calm t-shirts, and it was like an adult humor. What is the name of that website? But 2007, 2008, it was the Keep Calm shirts, and it was pretty girls and funny stuff. And I wasn't sure if they ever got a trademark on it. And I'm assuming not, because I see millions of Keep Calm shirts that have to do with nothing of the original. So I just say that was not anything that's trademarked. So, but that's the first thing that came to mind is like, somebody's done that. But yeah, I think it's a $50,000-$60,000 name, especially if I'm selling anything along those lines. But I'll let him tell how much he paid, because I know what the newsletter. And I hate to promote that newsletter because we did it before, but they do a good job. They bring out some good names that in the industry is, and I can say it's QEIP, and I think Michael Law is working for them now, who I really think's a great guy. He's a hardworking young man, and they have some good names. Our industry needs newsletters with good names and liquidity, and they do a good job with it. But
thanks, Shane.
Let's see if Andrew negotiated.
So
I can say they had it at 14.
Yeah. So paid 14, literally came through my inbox, and literally within 30 seconds of seeing it, I just wrote back, sold, I'll take it. Here's my escrow email. And literally 5 minutes after I wrote that email, he wrote back saying there's two other people who wrote the same thing, but after you. So I got it. and it's a good thing I didn't try to negotiate.
Yep.
I think it's worth materially more. I think it's a low six-figure name. I think it's $150,000 domain. And the reason I think that is that I think it just fits into, so it's gone beyond just the cultural trend. Like, you've got some of these trendy words that come out and they're hot for a minute and then they go away. Something like Kofifi, or I don't know. Every year there's something, and it's hot for a minute and then it's gone. And KeepCalm's got like over a decade of cultural significance. And so at that point it becomes a part of, I don't see any slowing. I still see shirts and posters everywhere for KeepCalm this, KeepCalm that. There's brands. If you Google it, if you just Google in quotations, KeepCalm.com, there's like tens of thousands of websites out there called blah, 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 KeepCalmPosters.com, KeepCalm this, KeepCalm that, blah. There's tons and just endless numbers of trademarks, but nobody owns KeepCalm just as it is for the applications that I've got in mind. And so I think it's very culturally relevant. I think it's still, I think it's like one of these things that's kind of ripe for, a comeback is the wrong word because maybe it's fallen off something from its peak, but for me, the reason I love it, I think it's the perfect cannabis brand. KeepCalm. Like, yeah, there's just an endless number of campaign and marketing slogans that can go along with that. And, what are people trying to do? Why are people, sparking up at historical rates? Well, because they want to just chill the fuck out, Keep calm. Like,
I just looked up where the history comes from. So the trademark, it was a 1939 British military poster, said "Keep calm and carry on" to the people.
Well, the British issued a series of posters, and that was one that was reserved for if they were successfully invaded. Then they were going to put that up everywhere, and it was found later on. So it has this exceptionally deep meaning to the British people, I believe. And then, the whole world loves it and loves all the applications of it. And Drew, there is an application I would not have thought of, but immediately I see your spark.
So yeah, I love it. I just think it's a super fun brand.
Yeah.
KeepCalm.com. I mean, it's one of those names. I love cocktail party names. I love names that, like, you're at a cocktail party and somebody asks you what you do and you say, I buy and sell domain names. And they're like, what are you talking about? And they're like, what kind of domain names? And that's the kind of name you can break out, and they're like, oh, that's cool. Right. If you tell them, we own insurancequotes.com, they're like, yeah. Even though insurance quotes would be worth, like, we don't own that, by the way, but even, insurance quotes would be worth 5 million, 10 million. But the person at the cocktail party is going to be way more intrigued by KeepCalm.com than
that's the one he'll go home and tell his friend, hey, I met this guy. Whereas insurance quotes are like, I don't know, you're some geek.
Yeah. When we owned Santa.com, that was my cocktail party name.
Mine's genderrevealparty.com.
Yeah. So Drew only owns names to be interesting.
Isn't that why we do it?
Listen, there is some degree of truth to that. And I'll tell you what, it's been a successful strategy. Because all of the most interesting investments that we've made outside of domains, I would say, I think I would say almost 100% of them have been as the result of just being interesting and able to engage in interesting conversation, because, we do something that not everybody does. And if you do it well, people find that intriguing. And it's an interesting field because, it's like I always say, all roads lead to domains. And so we get to engage with the most interesting businesses, all of the types of businesses in the world, and crazy, interesting people, and just crazy people. And so it's,
I find when
actually, on that note, and then I'm going to stop talking, but I legitimately, this is historically relevant. I legitimately had the craziest person I've ever encountered in the domain business call me yesterday. And that really is saying something, because I truly have engaged with some incredibly insane people. But this dude took the cake. And I apologize to all of you God-fearing Christians out there. I don't mean this in any insulting way, but this guy was a believer. He called up and told me that he owned Pepsi.com and Coca-Cola.com, and he owned, I think it was 600 other domains that were having to do with the biggest corporations in the world. And I thought, oh God, okay. Please explain to me how it is that you believe you own Pepsi.com, because I really was interested in how he actually believed he owned Pepsi.com. And I literally, actually went and checked just
in case,
because I realized, I was kind of condescending to the guy. And he told me that God ordained it, that he owned Pepsi.com and Coca-Cola.com, and it was God's wish. And if God willed that he owned it, then he owned it, period. End of story. There was nothing else discussed, and wanted to know what I could sell it for. And this conversation went on for,
I'm not praying right,
15 minutes, 20 minutes.
What?
And
you spent that much time on the phone?
Yeah, because he was the real deal. You know what I mean? It was like, I wanted to just milk him. I just wanted to really get into this guy's head, because how do you believe? How can you actually believe you own Pepsi.com? I really wanted to know. I wanted this guy to tell me, I know it. I freaking know I own Pepsi.com, because, but that was it. It was literally that just God had ordained it, and so it must be. I don't know how we're going to get from A to B, but
we'll get this on film and then see what happens. It's not over yet.
I know.
Wow. Well, Shane, you definitely are not praying right with Packle.
Yeah, I'm praying. I do pray every day, but I really haven't asked for a domain yet in a prayer. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, there is a scriptural quote about pray specifically and pray beg. So
well, I've been wasting it on for my grandmother and stuff. I need to switch it over.
Go big. Go for Tesla.com.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Grandma didn't know about domains.
Yeah, grandma got sick, but Shane's portfolio sure got better.
All sorts of wrong. Before our sponsors leave us, let me tell you about them. They support us in our educational mission here.
First, serious about online trading? Secure your funds, keep your merchandise safe, and use a company that keeps the buyer and seller protected the whole way through. That's escrow.com. Payments you can trust.
All right. Thanks, folks. Next, we're going to look at the domain portfolio review. We look at user-submitted domain name portfolio to provide honest and constructive feedback, so the owner can cut their losses, continue to hold long-term, or figure out a sales strategy going forward. Today, we have a small portfolio. It's from Bar Franick, and it is 5 domains, 4.com, 1.io. I'm going to read them for our podcast listeners. Goodconduct.com, guides.io, Canna.com, K-A-N-N-A-H.com, skillscenter.com, and usergenerated.com. So, what do you love or hate from this portfolio? What advice do you have? Amanda, you're up first. What would you like to tell Bar?
I like 3 of them. I like Canna.com a lot. I also like skillscenter.com. That actually means something to me personally, because that is what they call study hall now, at least in Massachusetts, for middle and high school students, is Skills Center. So to me, that could be a nice ed tech domain. Maybe she's told it for a little while longer. I don't exactly know how long historically they've been calling study hall Skills Center. But one of these kids that's up and coming, either in middle school or high school, could certainly develop something on that one. user generated, with all of the podcasts and other user generated content that's coming and up and coming. I haven't actually looked at what the search volume on that was, but I do like that for a 2-word.com. I don't think it's worth a ton, but I like it. I think the top choice for me out of this entire portfolio is the Canna.com. It's a geographic region, I learned, in Colorado. There's a brewery that's named after it. I didn't spend a ton of time looking, but I mean, it's Hannah with a K instead. I think it could be one of those type of domains that could lend itself very generically to a lot of different uses.
Very nice. Thank you. Good to hear. Any numbers that you would throw out there specifically?
Gosh, on Canna, I would say, I think on something like that, you could bring it to market in the mid to high 5 figures, and you could probably get close to that. I think it would need to be somebody that had vision if it wasn't already something that was named that. But any of those targeted companies that are using Canna as part of their brand in that geographic area of Colorado, I think would be prime candidates for purchase.
Fabulous. All right. Well, thank you, Amanda. Very insightful. Drew, what are your thoughts?
Pretty similar. I like Canna. I don't love it because it doesn't pass the radio test, but it's got traffic, and traffic's a really good indicator that a domain will have interest. Traffic and trademarks are probably the strongest indicator of a domain's propensity for an end user sale. So I like that. I like good conduct. I don't know why though. It's one of those things. It's like it just has a ring to me. Like good conduct, I kind of like it. It just I don't know what the commercial use case is though, other than like China's Big Brother network and rewarding you for good conduct.
I feel like it could be a T-shirt brand that does that sound like?
It's like KeepCalm. Honestly, it's like KeepCalm. It's like good conduct. It could be a catchphrase. It could be like, like suddenly instead of everybody hating everybody and everything, suddenly we become positive people and we start talking about, the good stuff in society, and then we have a catchphrase and a hashtag called good conduct. Wouldn't that be great?
You start it, Drew.
I was going to say, you should do that.
I'm too jaded. I'm not the guy for it. User-generated, user-generated content, big deal. Big element of commerce, SEO, marketing. I don't know.
Put a number on that. If you were to list that today, what would you list that at?
Tricky. I don't know who's going to use it for that.
That's a phrase we all.
That, nobody's going to brand their company that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think that it's probably a $5,000 to $10,000 domain. I could. I'm just trying to figure out what the search volume, if there's any.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does.
Why do you think it doesn't, Shane?
Well, I think they're not looking for you. They're looking for user-generated stuff, but I don't know.
But you got to be the guy selling user-generated content, or who's got a platform that allows it, or you know what I mean? Like it's got to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's no search. It's a fairly low value. It's a common term that everybody in the internet marketing world knows. But I don't know. I guess, in the end, I've kind of talked myself out of this name. It was like, it's a phrase that everybody knows, and therefore it's got value, is generally a pretty fair principle. But I don't know. I don't know what you would use this name
It's
for.
difficult to brand or build a business on.
Yeah, I actually withdraw. I don't like this name.
So
but I do like good conduct.
Buy it. Wait. So user generated, list it as a buy it now for a couple grand?
Yeah, like throw it on NameJet and sell it to the next guy who wants the hot potato.
Okay.
What didn't we coin that term on the last Domain Sherpa review? Hot potato domains.
Yeah.
Domains that are like, they look. It's like they look good on the surface, but they're just domains that'll get passed around between domain investors.
Yeah.
Chain letter domains.
Yep. It's a hot potato domain.
Chain letter. I like it. Yeah.
But I do like good conduct, and I actually like it more and more the more I think about it.
Very good. All right. Shane, how about you?
Yeah, I liked Canna for the cannabis market. That's the first thing that came to mind. Because one thing is companies don't name what they do in their name unless they have to. So like if you're Johnson's Advertising, you're going to be johnsonsadvertising.com. But
except in Germany.
Except in Germany. And even the United States, some do. But ideally, you would shorten it to as short as you can get. But yeah, no, there's different cultures and different. That's whatever I say is never a defined. Everybody does this. That there's no such thing. I found that a long time ago. There's always a somebody that's doing something different than somebody else. But that being said, a lot of companies don't like to pigeonhole themselves. They do like to pivot in what they do, and they don't want to say that they do X when eventually they do X and Y and Z. And so, but Canna works because Canna is it could be cannabis to start, but it's a cool brand and it's other things, and it's a creek and it's a geo and it's a name and it's a last name. So I love that name. He's got it to buy it now, I think at $15,000. I think he'll probably sell it at close to that. That's a good price if he wants to move the name. So I really like that name a lot. Skill Center I loved, but then when I heard Amanda say Skill Center, it sounded like Skill Center, and I'm thinking, is it Skill Center or Skills Center? I know you're not producing one skill, but that's always an issue when it comes to names like that, is the S can get hidden when you say it or in your thought. So it becomes worth less with the S in the middle. But if it's homeroom or study hall, I think that makes sense. But definitely a good name. User generated, I don't like. I don't like those techie, and that's not necessarily a tech word, but to me, it's just not a brand. It's boring. Nobody's ever going to use that or shouldn't use that.
Sure won't make you interesting at a cocktail party.
Absolutely not. That's no gender reveal party, I'll tell you what.
Now, how about you're a guy, Shane, who has spent a considerable amount of money on mountain climbing and guides. Now I know, many other guides out there, travel guides, study guides, but guides.io. What are your thoughts there? Nobody's mentioned that one.
Yeah, I don't. So
Domain's got to match the extension. .io is tech.
Yeah.
Mountain guides are low tech.
Yeah, it's the GitHub.
People don't need guides.
Mike Carson would tell you the GitHub, but I always call it the Grubhub method because techie guys use GitHub, common men use Grubhub to grab them food. So I always say the Grubhub method, and they're like, what does Grubhub have to do with domains? But it's GitHub where you type it in and see how many are in the repository, how many people use that. You want kangaroo and monkey, and you want cool little tech things. Guides is I couldn't get guides.com or anything else. Like I have the trail.com. If you want a trail guide, you go to the trail.com versus guides.io. In my opinion, it's just better to label it in a .com. It just doesn't match. So I don't really like that one as well. And good conduct's great. I mean, it's anything that is a word that you say that's relatively short and super easy to spell has value because you can label it anything. If I said good conduct and then I come back in 2 weeks and and ask you about it, you might remember it. it depends how the conversation went. But good conduct's a fine name. Is it worth $10,000? Maybe to somebody, but it's going to be a harder sell. And as we said earlier, anybody with a vision or a good broker and time can get a lot more money, but not everybody has all three of those.
Yeah, or a broker who's able to, commit the time for a domain in that price range. Shane, if you listed goodconduct.com as a buy it now, like you do with so many of your domains, what price would you put on it?
For me, I'd probably be in the $8,000 to $10,000 range, just because I'm a little bit more patient, and I think that will continue to grow in value. The names that I put a little lower are the names that I just, user generator is going to be at a couple $1,000s. I want to get rid of it. I want to move on to a name that's a little better. But yeah, I think all names worth having are $5,000 to $10,000. The problem is most people don't know what names are worth having in general. Just long term.
Yeah, and most domains do sell between $2,500 and $8,000 or so.
We could have a whole show on it, and it'll never get answered. But we all know there's a turn and burn method, there's a wait, and then there's I'm not going to sell it for less than this, and I'll go to my grave with it. And you just have to decide which of the three patterns you're going to use for your particular name.
All right. Well, somebody's going to their grave with Pepsi.com, I heard. So going to their maker with it.
I was going to say, he's not going to the grave. He's got much higher plans than that.
All right. Before we jump into the domains going to auction soon, Bar, thank you for submitting your portfolio. Really interesting conversation, even though it was only a handful of domains. I like that. Let me tell you about our sponsors who support us in our educational mission.
Built by domain investors to increase your inquiries, sales, and profit. Forget spreadsheets and archived emails. Manage your entire investment portfolio in one place using a secure and completely confidential platform. Learn more at ft.com. That's EFTY, ft.com.
So we'll move on now to the marketplace list. This segment is sponsored by NameJet. We are reviewing domains heading to auction soon. If you like one of the names below, click through soon, because once they go to auction, you can't continue viewing the auction or put in a minimum bid. So you need to do it ahead of time. Those are direct links. We're not making commission off it. We just want to send you over there if you're curious. For transparency, let's start out. Sherpas, do you own or are you brokering any of the names on this list?
No.
All righty. Drew, you're up first on this list. We NameJet heard your feedback from our last list, and they upped their game. So, what are your thoughts here?
What game are we playing? Pickleball?
Yeah, I mean, the bar is pretty low.
No, we're playing Packleball. All right.
I don't love the list. I really don't. I'm going to tell you the truth. The only domain on here that I actually really like is getextreme.com. It's a call to action. Normally I don't like domains that have, these prefixes, because usually it's, get this, got that, try this, hire, whatever. Some prefix because they couldn't get the real oneword.com. In this case, get extreme, actually sort of, obviously extreme.com would be worth exponentially more than get extreme. But for the sake of this conversation, get extreme is an additive to the name. It gives it a different meaning, a different appeal. And so I like getextreme.com. I don't know that it's a company name, but I think it's a great marketing campaign for, GoPro or Red Bull or, it's just cool. Get extreme.
Yeah. What would you pay for it? Are you going to bid on it?
I might, but I'd want to pay under $1,000 for that. And I'd be looking to sell it for 10 to 25.
Okay.
I like katana.net because I recently was thinking of buying a katana blade, which is a long story. in and of itself, and I'll spare you. But ultimately, it's a hot market, and these things are really expensive. And katana.net it's monetizable. I mean, you can make a business on that name. So I like that name. It's got a lot of search volume. There's a real market out there. I have no idea what the logistics of sending very dangerous swords around are, but probably not crazy. Probably easier than sending fresh fish. So I like that name. Everything else, I really don't like any other name on here. I mean, Unitar, at first I thought, ooh, wow, decent search volume. It's got great type-in traffic, but the type-in traffic's coming from the .org. And so if traffic's your thing, this is probably a very interesting name because the traffic is coming from the United Nations group that is trying to promote and enforce the 2030 Sustainability Summit or sustainability objectives, climate sustainability objectives. And so, that's probably decent value traffic if you know how to monetize it. But, and I doubt they even have a trademark on Unitar. It's just like a division of United Nations, but maybe they do. I don't know. You should obviously do your due diligence before you go buying domains like that. But it's not my cup of tea. Robocall is like super negative. It's like if you own robocall.com, you're like the most hated person on the planet, right? Like you literally might have people like coming to do bad things to you in your house. So if you buy robocall, make sure you put it under privacy because I will look you up. And, yeah, the rest, I don't know. I just don't, there's nothing on here that pops out at me.
All right. No, thanks. That was some great feedback, and a couple of them really opening up what you can do. And I like what you said, even swords, the complexity, and sometimes it's overcoming objections that can make you successful where someone else isn't. But if you could figure out how to sell fish and ship that all over the world, somebody can figure it out with swords too. So there you have it. Shane, anything jump out at you?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Get Extreme. I thought that was a good call to action kind of brand or marketing name, but I did like How to Be Great. I think that's a good mentor, pro tip kind of website. In 2007, 2008, those kind of sites were all the rage, like the Art of Manliness and, all these, sites of trying to be a better person or a cooler person. So I think that that's a really good name for that. Is it a huge value? No, but I think it's a great brand, and it's a very positive name versus Night Terror, which is not exactly, and I think it's Night Terrors anyway. So yeah. Night Terror, I looked at that and I just laughed. It's definitely memorable, but unless it's a movie coming out, horror film, I think that that's a little rough. Yeah, I really don't like them. I have no problem with vibrator shops, but it needs to be like, how like Ashley Madison, you don't know that that's a cheat on your spouse kind of website because it's got a cool name. And a vibrator shop, you literally don't want that showing up on your doorstep with the vibratorshop.com label sitting right there on your like, did you order from a sword from katana.com or katana? Oh no, that's not a sword. There is a
just leave that right there.
That's not a sword. And Unitar, I was thinking Unitar, like the onesie that a wrestler wears or whatever.
Me too.
Yeah, that's a unitard.
Yeah, when you said they stepped up their game, I thought, no, we have to step up our game to try and make something out of these names today.
Yeah.
I think the opposite. I mean, in the investment business, this is a perfect example of what I said earlier. You're just not going to name your investment business investment. You've just taken away all the personal things of the investment business and put it in and just made it generic. So I think it's pretty rough list. The only two that I would even think about bidding on would be How to Be Great and Get Extreme. The rest of them, any other people can have, and put that potato in the microwave and get ready for the pass.
And I think this is a good moment. We talk about exact match domains, but investmentbusiness.com, wholesalebusinesses.com, vibratorshop.com, these are not good examples of how to use an exact match domain. Maybe we can speak of that in a minute, of why these are kind of prime examples of where not to use an exact match.
Or
Yeah, but
marriage
these aren't even
photographer.
really exact match domains because they don't have any search volume.
Yeah.
You know, the whole point of exact match is that it's an exact match to a term that people search for. So if nobody's searching for it, it's not an exact match to anything. It's exact match, literally by definition, means it must be the exact match of keywords that people are searching for. So it's got to have, you know, and obviously, you know, just to give some level of indication, right? Under 10,000 searches a month, you need to have a really high branding potential or a really high CPC for that to have any value. Under 10,000 searches a month, I mean, if it doesn't have a high CPC and it doesn't have, you know, strong branding potential, your likelihood of a sale is very, very low. I'm not saying it's impossible, and this is obviously a generality, but it's got to have more than 10,000 searches a month, and it's got to have, you know, some other factors going for it, like, you know, brandability or you know, CPC.
What do you consider a high CPC?
I mean, I love to see $1 or more, but I mean, you know, like for non-direct commercial keywords, you know, anything over 50 cents is, I guess, probably interesting.
Yeah. And is another factor in exact match domains. So it doesn't mean that it just exactly matches any term anyone has ever used, but it's matching a search volume, but also it has to have some commercial value too, right? Like
no. So literally the term exact match domains comes from the Google, the old version of the Google AdWords keyword tool. And literally there was broad match search and exact match search. An exact match search meant that this was keywords that people were searching for exactly, not with any prefix, not with any suffix, not the singular and the plural, just the exact keyword that you look up. So football is one exact match search term, and footballs is an entirely other exact match search term. And
okay, let me rephrase my question. So just because something is an exact match doesn't even then mean that you should invest in the domain. Then there should be some way to monetize it as well. Amanda, what were you going to say?
Yeah, if I guess what I was really going to say from the beginning of this entire list, if people don't say the exact match term on a daily basis, and if you or I have to explain to somebody else what it means, don't do it. I've said that when I first got into this business, I had very little children, and they would just like say words.com, like whatever the words were. Is that good, Mom? And I was like, no. And now, still to the point of the radio test, if a 5-year-old and a 65-year-old do not understand what I'm talking about, or anyone is talking about in the first 60 seconds of the conversation, don't buy that. Don't do that. Just stay away from it. So when I looked at this list, there's nothing on here that as a broker, I think I would invest time in selling on an outbound basis, simply because there's just too much education that would have to be done to an end user. The howtobegreat.com, there is a professional development sort of guru person who has the School of Greatness, and his name is Lewis Howes. You might consider, whoever owns this domain, go to him directly. he might like this. That is the only one to me that at the quick 30-second glance resonated at all for me.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I think that's really important for investors to hear and to learn, because on the surface, Unitar's a 6letter.com, or, night terror is a phrase people have heard, but maybe it's night terrors. I think this is really good for helping, especially an entry-level investor, to discern these more subtle, to some, differences. So this was fantastic insight from all three of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to each of you. We're coming to the end of the show. I'd like to give the Sherpas an opportunity to share anything you have going on in your lives, personal or professional, brokering, selling opportunities, etc. Shane, you are up first. What's going on?
The same old thing. DSAD, we do a daily list of, we kind of go through the auctions that are out there in the world and pick some of our favorites, kind of save you some time, get your mind thinking, a couple jokes, a boring story of what's happening in my life every morning. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's terrible, tons of misspellings, but it's kind of my domain diary, so it can't be wrong. If it's what I'm doing, there's no wrong in opinion. So that's kind of what we do every day. And I've got some fantastic partners, Josh and Travis. You guys know them. And I say this every time. I love the team I work with. I love talking to them about domains. Domaining is fun individually, but when you get to sit and chat about it and smile and laugh and hear stories and compare notes, that's when it gets really good. I mean, it becomes really fun when you talk to other people. And that's what NamesCon was really good in since. I like this industry and the blog because it brings people to my doorstep to talk about domains and have some fun. And I've probably been tweeting a little bit too much, but if you can handle Twitter and if you can keep your mind focused and not get in too many disagreements, that's another good place to converse as well. You just got to keep it under control.
Thanks,
That's
Shane.
where you'll find me.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks. All right, Amanda, so wonderful to have you. Besides digging out of a practical blizzard, what's going on?
Well, I would say that I'm coming back into doing some co-brokerage deals, taking on some one-word.coms, but not a lot. I feel like if I'm going to do this and do it right, I have to be a little bit more selective than I have in the past and have to really love something in order to conceptually sell. So if you have some of those and you're interested in discussing them with me, I'm all ears. And again, love doing the co-brokerage side of things, mostly working on acquisitions for referral clients, but people can find me on Twitter. I'm starting to tweet a little bit more. And then my telephone number is still the same. So I hope to hear from you all.
What's your Twitter handle?
First name, last name.
Okay.
At Amanda Waltz, WALTZ.
Correct.
Yeah, very good to see you. Amanda, how many years experience do you have in this domain industry?
Either 8 or 9.
A lot.
Yeah. I feel like I really got a great education, been very, very fortunate to work with some of who I consider to be some of the best in the business, and incredibly grateful for all that has been offered to me, and hope that I can do the same for others moving forward.
Yeah, Amanda, you have really formed some spectacular connections in the domain industry and, more importantly, outside. I think you're a great evangelist for VCs, startups to understand the value of domains, and it is so good to see you up and running as a broker independently. Congratulations. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Andrew Rosner, what's going on in your world?
So same old same. You know, we're grinding away. You know, getting closer to announcing one exciting project that's been a long time coming, but not quite there yet. I do think we've got one of the best stables of great domain names that we've ever had for brokerage at the moment, with you know, auctions.com and bloom.com and diamond.com, funny.com, which funny.com, I mean, it's one of the highest searched, I think it's one of the top 10 highest search terms on the internet. Inbox.com, mb.com, sushi.com, wallstreet.com. And we've just got some really, really phenomenal domains for sale. So I'm very excited about that. I'm, you know, the market since, you know, as Chinese New Year has started to end here, even though the China is not a very big part of our overall market, has felt like the market has heated up a little bit since Chinese New Year ended. And, you know, I see a lot of positive signs out there. Overall, I'm just very bullish. I'm getting very frustrated. It's getting increasingly more difficult for us to acquire the names we want to acquire, either for ourselves or on behalf of clients. You know, I posted on Twitter yesterday, there's a short squeeze happening in the top, you know, the top percentile of .com domain names. It's getting crazy. It's getting very, very hard to do our job, you know, finding great names for clients. It's really, really, really hard. Yeah, that's what's up in our world. That's it. I hope everybody is aware of and planning to attend NamesCon Europe, which will be here in Lisbon, Portugal, the last week of June, I believe. I think the dates are the 21st to the 23rd, but don't quote me on that. We'll get it right at some point if that's wrong. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be crazy good weather, which is pretty much a guarantee at that time of year. And it sounds like a lot of people are coming. And Lisbon is just such an amazing, cool city. So I hope everybody comes. And that's it. You know, thank you to Amanda. I'm so happy to finally get you on. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know Amanda is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the very, very, very few other folks in this domain industry that calls themselves a domain broker who I believe not only deserves that title, but actually does a great job. Phenomenal, phenomenal asset to this industry. So thank you for finally getting on the show with us.
For having me. It was really fun.
Delight to have you. NamesCon is June 20th to the 22nd in Portugal. And that is super exciting.
And immediately followed by the ICANN meeting in Marrakesh, by the way, which is like a 2-hour flight, I think, from Lisbon. So I think a lot of people will come to Lisbon and then go to Marrakesh and make it a package deal.
Yeah. Well done. Well, just want to tell our Sherpa Network, if you receive benefit from today's show, please post a comment below. Thank today's Sherpas. Share it on Twitter. Help others to really understand this industry as well. A big thanks again to Bar Franick for submitting your portfolio. Remember, you can submit your portfolio via the link on DomainSherpa.com. And big thank you to NameJet for sending over these domains to help investors be more educated and involved. And biggest thanks of all to you three Sherpas. Thank you, Shane, Amanda, and Drew, for your experience and insights. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
All right.